All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the School of Professional Advancement. And I'm joined by my colleague, Sheila Gold. The two of us are going to lead this webinar and speak about the School of Professional Advancement, our graduate programs in general, and then some important information about our admissions process and important things like schedules and costs and all that. We're also joined by our colleague Ann Conlon behind the scenes, who is moving the slides. So this is an overview of SoPA, as we call it, and our graduate programs. We have webinars for each of our program areas as well, if you're interested in learning more about the specific program that you're considering enrolling in. I'm actually wondering if to start, you would put your name, where you're calling in from, and the program that you're most interested in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. It's always good to know if there's a good way to pitch what we're talking about. Even though this is a general webinar, it's really helpful to know what specifically you're interested in. So go ahead and put that in the chat box, and I'll just keep talking. So SoPA, as we call it, is actually a long-standing school within Tulane. Our focus is on supporting adult learners and on applied academic programs that are relevant to careers and the workplace. And that tradition at Tulane and that mission goes back a very long time, all the way to the founding of the university in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. But also the predecessor school to SoPA was the third school at Tulane, coming after the medical college and the law school. So there's a long history, again, of educating working adults and offering applied programs. And we do it now in a 21st century fashion, which means optimal use of technology, lots of interactivity with multimedia work, and accommodating our students' complex lives. If you want to go to the next slide. So these are the things that we're going to cover during this webinar. I'm going to talk about online education, which is where most of our graduate level education takes place. I'm going to touch on our programs and faculty, although, like I said, we have program-specific webinars where you can learn more about those specifically and interact directly with the faculty. I'll talk about student support and the various ways in which we make it possible or make it more possible for our students to be successful in school and professionally. And then I'll hand things over to Sheila to talk about, again, like the specifics of schedules, cost, financial aid, and the admissions process. And all of this is backed up by the Tulane name and the quality and rigor that that implies. So first, to talk about online, coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of online learning and a lot of, all institutions are doing it, and many think they know how to do it well and may or may not. And at SoPA, we have spent many years developing an approach to educating people online that we think is consistent with the quality and the brand of Tulane, is highly accessible, and is highly effective. And so what that means is small classes, lots of interaction with other students and with your faculty, a combination of asynchronous learning, which means doing the work on your own time, and doing it individually or in small groups, and typically monthly sessions, sometimes more frequently synchronous sessions. And what that means is that everyone is on Zoom at the same time, like we are right now. And that could be for a guest speaker, it could be for student presentations, it could be for a structured discussion, but it's scheduled at a time and in a way that fits with the schedules of our students, who again have typically many other obligations that they're balancing while they're in school. And it is, again, small scale, intimate, and highly interactive. So that's how we structure online learning. And in the next slide, there are some metrics that give you a sense of the scale of what we do and why, independent, I guess, verification of feeling like it works well. So a lot of faculty trained to teach online and offered consistent, actually weekly professional development opportunities to continue to improve how they teach online. A lot of students, a lot of hours spent learning online, and many programs, graduate degrees, certificates of various kinds, and hundreds of courses. Thanks, Tamia, for posting on the chat. And if others can post in the chat and just let us know your name, where you're calling in from, and what program you're interested in, that would be great. Here's a little bit of a glimpse of our faculty. So SoPA has a combination of full-time faculty, most of whom have actually come from industry. Tyra Mitchell and Ralph Russo are good examples of those folks. So Ralph is the director of our information technology programs and is an expert in IT and cybersecurity, but also had a long history working as a professional in policing. We also, Tyra Mitchell is the former chief physical therapist of the Ochsner Medical System in Louisiana, on our full-time faculty in kinesiology. And then over on the left are two great examples of our adjunct faculty. We have a couple hundred of those, and they are all working professionals who are active in their fields, love to teach our adult students, and bring both their knowledge of what's happening in their fields day to day and their professional networks to the classroom, where you can benefit for them. This slide has a list of all of our master's degrees. So this is a wide range of programs, everything from a Master of Science degree that's in cybersecurity and IT and in health and wellness and sports studies, the Master of Professional Studies degree, which is in our emergency and security studies programs, including our nationally ranked Homeland Security program, the Master of Liberal Arts, and the Master of Public Administration. And then on the next slide, there's a long list of our graduate certificates. Every single one of these, except for one, is 4 courses. They all can be applied toward the master's degree, which means that we have the same admissions process and admission standards for the certificates as we have for the degree programs. So if you decide, for example, you want to do a certificate program in economic development because you want to have a deep knowledge of that field in particular, partway through, you might say, I really like this, and there's something here that I want to pursue more. All 4 of those courses we can transfer into the Master of Public Administration, and the process of applying the courses toward the master's degree is simple and seamless. The one exception that I want to call out for the size of the program is Cyber Technology Fundamentals, which is, instead of being 4 courses, is a 6-course certificate that is geared toward people who want to switch to a career in information technology or cybersecurity and don't already have an extensive professional or academic background in the field of IT or computer science. So those are the graduate certificates. And then this is a list of post-baccalaureate certificates. So these are courses at the undergraduate level that are in fields of study where a graduate degree may have less relevance, or where it's like paralegal, for example, or where it's a body of knowledge that's going to help you extend a certification that you already have. For example, in special education or teaching English language learners. So those are the post-baccalaureates, and all of those require that you already have a bachelor's degree. Right. So credit for prior learning is one of the many ways in which our school accommodates the needs and the special opportunities of having a largely adult student body. So we have numerous kinds of arrangements with different organizations, such as the National Guard or the National League of Cities, where you can get credit toward the master's degree for having gone through another organization's training program that's actually been reviewed and evaluated by our faculty. But we also have a process called portfolio assessment, where our faculty can work with you to match your background. Sorry, obviously I'm somewhere where there's background noise. Where our faculty can work with you to match your background up against specific courses in the master's degree. And you document your background. The faculty will then actually grade your portfolio, and you can get up to 6 credits or 2 courses toward the master's degree. And then finally, I'll just say a little bit about the area that we call student support and success. And fundamentally, that means that we will do everything that we possibly can, both our staff and our faculty, to make sure that you have the best possible circumstances for learning, for doing well academically, and for being able to balance your schoolwork, your coursework, with everything else that you're juggling. So that means that you have a highly experienced, dedicated academic advisor who will work with you individually. You have the benefit, again, of all these faculty who are experienced in their fields and have extensive networks in addition to their knowledge. We have a dedicated career advisor who specializes in working with adult students and in helping people to figure out how to describe transferable skills from one field to another, or to tell a coherent story about their career trajectories. And then, of course, you have the benefit of becoming a permanent member of the worldwide Tulane community, with all the benefits that that brings to you, including professional and networking benefits. And with that, I'll turn things over to Sheila.
Thank you, Suri, and welcome again, everybody. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to hear a little bit more about our program. So I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about the application process and tuition, which I know everybody is certainly interested in. So we are currently in our summer term. Our next enrollment term is fall. That application is open. Our application and tuition rate is $1,158 per credit hour, and each one of our courses is 3 credit hours. I like to let students know that we have very low fees on top of our tuition rates. When you're comparing schools, and I know that students certainly compare schools, don't forget to compare tuition and fees. Oftentimes, even schools in our area, if you add in the fees, it almost doubles their tuition rate. That is not true. At SoPA, we actually cap our fees at a very low rate. Even with that said, many of our students need some sort of financial assistance. We do encourage all students to fill out the FAFSA form, which is the federal form for financial aid, and send that into our financial aid office. We encourage students to start that process relatively early. It takes several weeks to get through the FAFSA process. So leaving it to the end is not what we encourage students to do. We also offer other types of aid. We are a military-friendly school. We are proudly a yellow ribbon school, and we offer several 20% tuition discounts for different groups of students, active duty military and veterans, retired active and retired public safety personnel. If anyone on this call has their bachelor's degree from a minority serving institution like an HBCU, that we also offer a 20% discount, and if anyone is a PTK member. Also, Suri mentioned in the slide before this one, our credit for prior learning program, and that is another way to save time and money. If you get your 6 credit hours through the credit for prior learning process, then that'll save you 2 classes and tuition for 2 classes. So a little bit about our actual application process. So our application is actually, it's a online application. It lives on our website. So our website is sopa.tulane.edu. There's a big button at the top that says apply that opens you up to the application portal. There's a $50 fee associated with our graduate application, but we are taking attendance at this webinar, and we will waive that fee as a thank you to you all for attending today. We will need you to upload a current government ID, which for most people is just taking a picture on your phone of your driver's license or a passport and uploading that to your application. We do require that transcripts from any school from which you've received college credit, that those all be sent to us. Students are often very happy to hear that we do not require the GRE for admission to our program. We have not found that the GRE is a valid indicator of success in our program, so we don't require that. And for many of our graduate applications, there are also written portions, and we may require a resume for some of our programs. Just a word about the written portions. Please take your time on those written pieces. They're an important part of your application. They serve 2 functions. First, our faculty want to see your answers. They want to understand why you're interested in their programs and understand a little bit more about your interest and why you're applying, but also the quality of your writing is important. So make sure that you proofread, double check all of those things before you go ahead and send it in, because that is an important part of the application. Some deadlines that I'd like to share with you, if we could, next slide, please. So we have 3 start terms per year. Our next start term is the fall. That application is open. The term after that will be the spring, which is our January term. And of course, right now we're in our summer term. So the next summer term is a year from now. We have application deadlines, but we do encourage our students to apply well before those deadlines. The fall deadline is August 1. However, we do have early enrollment scholarships for each of our terms. So for the upcoming fall term, if you apply and register for classes by June 1, which I know has passed, then you will receive a $500 early enrollment scholarship. The next term after that is our spring term. That's a January 1 application deadline. However, that application is open now, so you could go ahead and apply now. If you get admitted and register for classes by December 1, you will receive the scholarship. And of course, if you're interested in a year from now, next summer, it's a May 1 deadline, but if you register by April 25th, you will receive the scholarship. So it's just an easy way for us to help you all your first semester sort of manage the financial obligation of tuition. So that sort of covers our official talking points. But at this point, if you all have any questions, feel free to either take yourselves off of mute or drop them in the chat box.
Hi, Sheila. I have a question. So I am a staff member here at Tulane, and I was wondering if you can speak to how the tuition waiver for that works.
I certainly can. So the tuition waiver, I always tell folks, check with HR, make sure you're eligible. You have to be here 6 months before you can use the waiver. You'll know, check with HR, but you'll also know that you are eligible because if you go to Gibson Online and you go to your staff page, there is the waiver is available through that page. There's a big box on that page that says, are you applying for the waiver for, the upcoming semester? And you put in the term. If it doesn't allow you to do that, then you're not eligible at that point. Or if you are eligible and it doesn't allow you to do it, call HR and make sure that they update your records. But it's really that's the way the process works. So after you call HR and they say, yes, the waiver is open to you, you apply to our school, you get admitted, hopefully. And then when it's time, the waiver opens like during a certain window of time each semester, and you just go on your staff Gibson page and just fill out the waiver form. It's very simple. It's like your banner ID, your name, and the term, I think. It's like 3 pieces of information.
Any other questions that people have at this point? Well, I think I would just say to sort of wrap things up that hopefully it's clear from the fact that I, as the dean of the school, participate in these webinars, and we are highly accessible and highly communicative, that we're excited that you're interested in our school. We're excited that you're thinking about going back to school at this point, which I think is a great idea for all kinds of reasons. And we look forward to getting to know you as part of the admissions process. So you're going to get an email from Sheila that will have a recording of this webinar in case you want to see it again. And obviously we'll have her contact information, and you'll be hearing from us. We look forward to hearing from you and are really glad to have had an opportunity to have met you today. So thanks again for your time. And we're excited and happy that you're interested in SoPA, and can't wait to share more with you. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks again.